What's up, everyone? Today we're taking a deep dive into the life and career of one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. From his early days growing up in Northern California to becoming a college star at Cal, to getting drafted by the Green Bay Packers and eventually emerging from the shadow of Brett Favre to cement his legacy as an all-time great, Rodgers' journey has been nothing short of remarkable. Strap in as we chronicle the key events and moments that define the incredible life story of Aaron Rodgers. Early life. Aaron Charles Rodgers was born in December 1983 in Chico, California, a small rural town nestled in the wooded foothills of Northern California. Aaron was born to parents Ed and Darla Rodgers and was raised with his two younger brothers, Luke and Jordan. By all accounts, Aaron grew up in a strong, loving family environment. Aaron's father Ed was an athlete himself, having played football at Chico State University in the 1970s. He instilled in his boys a passion for sports and competition at a young age. While Luke and Jordan took after their dad playing football, Aaron gravitated towards baseball initially, showing promise as a pitcher and shortstop. But it wouldn't be long before Aaron switched his focus to football. His idol growing up was none other than 49ers quarterback Joe Montana. Aaron was enamored by Montana's calmness and pinpoint accuracy. He dreamed that one day he could follow in the footsteps of his idol playing QB in the NFL. High school and recruiting. Soon enough, Aaron's outstanding talents on the football field became undeniable. As the starting QB for Pleasant Valley High School, he threw for over 2,400 yards and 25 touchdowns his junior year and led his team deep into the playoffs. Despite his stellar play, Rodgers drew surprisingly little interest from top college programs. He received an offer from Illinois, but no major D1 schools came calling on the lanky QB from the small town of Chico. This lit a fire under Rodgers, motivating him to shine as a senior and force college recruiters to pay attention. Rodgers delivered in remarkable fashion his senior season, recording mind-boggling stats of 2,900 yards passing and 32 TDs with only 4 interceptions in just 10 games. This finally caused top programs to take notice of Rodgers' talent and potential. The University of California, coached by Jeff Tedford at the time, offered Rodgers a scholarship which he accepted. College career. Arriving at Cal in 2002, Rodgers spent his first year as a backup behind senior QB Kyle Baller. Then as a sophomore in 2003, Rodgers took over as the starter and immediately showcased his skills. That season, he passed for over 2,500 yards, with 19 TDs and only 5 interceptions, leading Cal to an 8-6 record and a top 25 ranking. After a down year in 2004, Rodgers and Cal exploded in 2005 for one of the finest seasons in program history. Rodgers dominated the Pac-10 conference, completing 67.5% of his passes for 2,620 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 8 picks. The Bears finished 10-1 in the regular season and climbed all the way to 5th in the national rankings. For his sensational play, Rodgers was named the Pac-10 Offensive Player of the Year. Though Cal NFL Draft. Heading into the 2005 NFL Draft, Rodgers was projected as a potential first overall pick. His falling draft night remains one of the most infamous in NFL draft history. Despite rampant speculation, the 49ers would select Rodgers first overall. They opted for Utah QB Alex Smith instead. Rodgers then watched and waited through 23 more difficult selections, hoping his name would finally be called. In one of the biggest draft night steals ever, Rodgers slipped all the way to the 24th pick, where the Green Bay Packers traded up to finally take him off the board. Rodgers would now back up a Green Bay legend in Brett Favre, but his time would come sooner than expected. Early career taking over for Favre. Spending his first 3 NFL seasons backing up Brett Favre, Rodgers appeared in limited action, throwing only 59 passes over that span. Favre's retirement in March 2008 thrust Rodgers into the spotlight as the Packers' new starting QB. Favre, however, suddenly changed his mind coming out of retirement that summer, setting the stage for one of the most tense QB controversies ever. Favre wanted his job back, but Green Bay stood firm with Rodgers as their starter, ultimately trading Favre to the Jets. Rodgers showed flashes of brilliance his first year starting in 2008, throwing for over 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns. But the young, inexperienced team struggled to a 6-10 record. Doubts swirled if Rodgers could emerge from Favre's enormous shadow. 2010, Super Bowl run building on his breakthrough. 2009 season, Rodgers elevated to even greater heights in 2010. He threw for over 3,900 yards and 28 touchdowns against only 11 picks as the Packers rolled to a 10-6 record, clinching the NFC's 6th playoff seed. With Rodgers locked in come playoff time, the Packers became an unstoppable force. They reeled off playoff road wins over the Eagles, Falcons, and arch-rival Bears, as Rodgers outdueled Michael Vick, Matt Ryan, and Jay Cutler, respectively. His clutch play under pressure brought the Packers franchise back to the Super Bowl for the first time since the late 90s Favre era. Facing the feared Pittsburgh Steelers defense, Rodgers saved his finest performance for last, outplaying Ben Roethlisberger to lead the Packers to a 31-25 win in Super Bowl XLV. Rodgers was named Super Bowl MVP after throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the signature victory that cemented his status as an elite championship QB. 2011 MVP. Coming off the Super Bowl win, Rodgers produced what is considered by many the greatest season ever by a QB in 2011. He set the NFL record for passer rating in a season at 122.5, while also leading the league with 45 touchdown passes against just 6 interceptions. He added over 4,600 passing yards, while guiding the Packers to a 15-1 record. For his historically brilliant play, Rodgers was named the AP NFL MVP by unanimous decision, the first QB ever to achieve this feat. Unfortunately, the Packers had a shocking home playoff loss, but Rodgers' 2011 campaign remains one of the finest individual seasons for any player in NFL history. Continued excellence. While Rodgers has yet to make it back to another Super Bowl over the past decade, he's remained one of the premier QBs in the league, producing elite seasons year after year. This includes 2 more league MVPs in 2014 and 2020. Rodgers suffered a broken collarbone injury mid-season in 2017 that threatened his career, but he returned the next season to capture his 2nd league MVP. Now approaching 40 years old, Rodgers has shown no signs of slowing down as he continues building his case as possibly the most talented QB to ever play in the NFL. Conclusion: legacy. And there you have it, the incredible life story so far of Aaron Rodgers. His journey from an overlooked small-town kid to one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history is truly remarkable. With his consistently high level of play well into his late 30s, Rodgers shows no signs of slowing down as he looks to further cement his legacy with more records and championships in the years to come. He'll surely go down as one of the most athletic, accurate, and talented passers ever to play the game.